Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we thank that wonderful klezmer band. Only at JTS do we have such appropriate music for the day. Today is indeed a very special day for our institution as we gather to celebrate the achievements of our graduates and our honorees here on the stage with me. My name is Abby Joseph Cohen, and I have the great honor of serving as chair of the board of the Jewish Theological Seminary. On behalf of my colleagues on the Board of Trustees, the administration, the faculty, I am truly delighted to welcome you to the 121st Commencement exercises of the Jewish Theological Seminary. Now, please join in, don't just listen, as Sarah Meyerson and Jeff Warschauer, who will be invested as cantors in a ceremony later this afternoon, lead us in the national anthems of the United States of America and Medinat Yisrael.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Kolod balei
Thank all of you, and special thanks to Sarah and Jeff. I now call on Rabbi Howard Buechler, spiritual leader of the Dix Hills Jewish Center, based in Dix Hills, New York, to deliver the opening prayer. Rabbi Buechler was ordained by JTS in 1985. At today's commencement, his son Hillel will be awarded his Master of Arts degree. Rabbi Buechler.
Makor HaChaim, source of life, we stand before you only days before Shavuot, Zaman Matan Toratenu, and rejoice in the gift of Torah. At the very moment of divine theophany, the Torah teaches us, Bayom Hazeh, that the divine symphony was revealed not on that day, but on this very day, Bayom Hazeh. This seizes the reality that whenever we engage in Torah, this very moment becomes revelation, anew and renewed. Sinai is not a distant moment or an abstract construct, but Bayom Hazeh, it is happening at this very hour. We revel in the ongoing moments of Sinai as we celebrate these beautiful commencement ceremonies. At this very moment, we commend each graduate. We also pause with tremendous gratitude to honor the distinguished faculty of JTS for always challenging us to drink from the wellspring of the rich scholarship that is the hallmark of 3080. Ki lekach tov natati lachem, resonate the poetic words of Proverbs that are found echoed in our Siddurim. I've given you good teachings, and through these teachings, we nourish our neshamot, cultivate our character, and refine our religious faith and observances. At this blessed hour, we thank our families, our friends, and our communities for encouraging and supporting the journeys to actualize the dreams that have led Bayom Hazeh to this very day of deep blessings. The gift of Torah is embedded and woven into our lives. The Torah is our strength, our confidence. The Torah is also the artistry of our days and the creativity of our ways. A Midrash of Mishlei says, Al tikra amon, ela oman. Torah is not just a confident, it is artistry. To each graduate, Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'le'otenu, may it be God's favorable gift to you to cultivate your talents, express your creativity, and empower the Torah of your life. In his very last interview, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel Zal was asked what he sought to impart in the next generation. He responded, and I quote, "To the next generation, above all, remember that the meaning of life is to build a life as if it were a work of art." Dear graduates, you have been given lekach tov, great teachings at JTS, and now these teachings are your platform to build and scaffold your life in a portrait of sacred architecture. Craft your lives into works of art, designing your lives with morality, deep meaning, and enthusiasm, and share that passion. In doing so, you will bring heartfelt blessings to your families, to your friends, to your communities, and your teachers, and above all, to yourselves. This is the very day that God has created. Let us rejoice and celebrate thereon. Mazel tov to the class of 5,775, and may God bless the tapestry of Torah that is the artistry of your lives. And let us say, Amen.
Rabbi Buechler, thank you for those moving words and booming voice. And a mazel tov to you and your family on your son's graduation today. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now be seated. Distinguished honorees, members of the JTS faculty, administration and board, representatives of the conservative movement, friends from the entire community, and Acharon Chaviv, our graduates and their families, friends and guests, I once again welcome you to this special day of celebration. I would also like to welcome several members of the administrations of our sister academic institutions who are joining us today. From Columbia University, Dean Peter Ahn of And let's see the reaction we have for Dean of Students, Tom Harford. And from Barnard College, Dean Avis Hinkson, Dean of Students, Natalie Friedman, First Year Dean Rebecca Grabner, and a special welcome and welcome back to Dean Emerita Dorothy Denberg. Finally, I would like to offer a special welcome to New York State Senator Bill Perkins, whose legislative district includes JTS. I have the privilege of serving as chair of this vibrant and vital institution, and I can say without qualification that presiding at these commencement exercises is the single most enjoyable and gratifying activity for me. Today, let me share with you this special sense from up here on the stage. From this vantage point, we can see the beaming smiles of parents and grandparents and the pride and love of other family members and friends. And there is, of course, a visible sense of accomplishment and eagerness on the faces of the graduates themselves. What a wonderful view we all have from up here. But graduates, may I ask that on this day, which is special not just for you, but for everyone else here, that you turn to the others in this tent and acknowledge their past support and commitment to your future with a very hearty round of applause. I am now extremely pleased to announce that out of great respect, admiration, and affection for Gershon Kext, the Chair Emeritus of the JTS Board of Trustees, the board unanimously voted to name the graduate school in his honor. The dedication of the Gershon Kext Graduate School of the Jewish Theological Seminary took place last week. Today, please help us celebrate Mr. Kext's enormous contributions of leadership and wisdom. Mr. Kext is here today, as he has been for more than 25 prior commencement ceremonies. Please join me in thanking Gershon and his family for their long-standing support of this institution. I now have the pleasure of introducing the Chancellor of the Jewish Theological Seminary and President of its faculties, Professor Arnold Eisen. Chancellor Eisen will preside over the next portion of this program. Chancellor?
Thank you, Abby. It's my pleasure to welcome you all as well. This is one of the happiest days of the year at JTS, and I know it is for you too. It's now my privilege to confer the honorary degrees, a tradition that began at JTS right when we began in 1904. Those receiving honorary degrees today join a distinguished list of scientists and artists and scholars and public servants, leaders of the Jewish community and of our society. In awarding these degrees, which have been approved by the JTS Board of Trustees, we acknowledge the teaching of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel in Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers, Lo hamidrash hu ha'ikar, ela ha'ma'aseh. Not study but deeds are truly essential. JTS honors these individuals for their outstanding accomplishments as well as for their exemplary learning. And now it is my pleasure to invite Father Patrick Desbois to the podium. Father Desbois will be sponsored by Mrs. Diane Wall, a member of the JTS Board of Trustees, and by Dr. Bert Vysotsky, Nathan and Janet Appelman Professor of Midrash and Interreligious Studies. Father Desbois, your book, The Holocaust by Bullets, describes a phase of the Nazi genocide that predated the death camps, the slaughter, one by one, village by village, of Jews and Roma as Hitler's armed forces swept into Eastern Europe. The book recounts the project you have devoted yourself to since 2004 as founder and president of Yachad in Unam, a name that honors and joins the Hebrew word for together, Yachad, and the Latin word unam for in one. Through this sacred work, you have meticulously and relentlessly unsilenced a lesser known and profoundly vile aspect of the Holocaust. You visit witnesses, most of them Catholic, as a priest, with a translator, researcher, mapping expert, ballistic specialist, and video crew, documentation from German and Soviet archives, and add further detail to the evidence. And so far, Yachad and Unam has recorded more than 4,000 testimonies and identified more than 1,500 execution sites. You've taken to heart God's question to Cain, saying in reply, "Here and here and here and here are my murdered Jewish and Roma brothers and sisters." Acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to invite Ms. Blu Greenberg to the podium. She will be sponsored by Alan Levine, Esquire, a vice chair of the JTS board, and by Dr. Stephanie Sigmund, Women's League Associate Professor of Jewish, Gender, and Women's Studies. Blu Greenberg, my friend, you have ushered modern Orthodox Judaism into a new age, one in which girls regularly become bat mitzvah and women study and teach Talmud and are ordained as religious leaders. Your desire to reconcile feminism and Orthodox Judaism took form in 1973 as you prepared your keynote address to the first National Jewish Women's Conference and identified in Orthodoxy both what you called abundant benevolence toward women and pockets of disadvantage, disability, and discrimination. You went on to publish On Women and Judaism, A View from Tradition. You chaired the first and second international conferences on feminism and orthodoxy, and you founded the Jewish Orthodox Feminist Alliance. You've also been active in numerous women's organizations promoting dialogue among the branches of Judaism and with Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists, and you co-chair the Global Peace Initiative of Women. You have opened up important new vistas for Jewish women in religion and beyond, benefiting both Jewish women and the Jewish people as a whole. And so, acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege and deep personal pleasure to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. It's now my pleasure to invite Ms. Roberta Kaplan to the podium. She will be sponsored by Daniel J. Beller, Esquire, a member of the JTS Board of Trustees, and by Mark Gary, Esquire, Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Operating Officer of JTS. Roberta A. Kaplan, lauded as a litigation superstar, you committed your expertise, intelligence, and drive to a landmark case that became a turning point in the history of the rights of gays and lesbians in the United States of America. A partner at Paul Weiss, you represented Edith Windsor when the federal government, under the Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA, refused to recognize her lawful marriage because it was a same-sex relationship. Denied tax benefits accorded to other widowed spouses, Windsor turned to you to secure the equal protection guaranteed by the Constitution, not only for herself, but for all gay and lesbian Americans. You did not fail them. You argued the case before the U.S. Supreme Court with passion and brilliance. The court ruled in your client's favor in 2013, overturning the key provision of DOMA. In the wake of this decision, and largely based upon your arguments, same-sex marriages have since been legalized in a majority of states. Through your tireless efforts, you have strengthened the causes of justice and human dignity in our nation. Acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. It's now my pleasure to invite Professor Barbara Kirshenblatt-Gimblett to the podium. She will be sponsored by Ms. Eliza R. Doctoroff, a Vice Chair of the JTS Board, and by Dr. Edna Nachshon, Professor of Jewish Theater and Drama. Barbara Kirshenblatt-Gimblett, you have capped a scholarly career of stunning interdisciplinary scope by helping to build bridges between Polish Jewry and the rest of Poland, between Polish Jewry and Jews the world over. As program director, you led development of the core exhibition, opened last fall, of Warsaw's Polin Museum of the History of Polish Jews. A 1,000-year history, the exhibition reminds us that history neither began nor ended with the Holocaust. You are now chief curator of that series of historical explorations, as well as advisor to the museum director. You have recently been named University Professor Emerita at New York University, where you had taught since 1981, chairing the Department of Performance Studies and teaching graduate-level courses in Hebrew and Judaica. You have also served major museums internationally and are the author, co-author, or editor of 20 books. Your research, teaching, and writing have helped elucidate major themes in modern Jewish history, and your immensely creative work has educated multitudes of people of every nationality and faith about the Jewish experience, and so about the character of all humanity. Acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Hebrew Letters, honoris causa. It's now my pleasure to invite Mr. Nigel Savage to the podium. He will be sponsored by Mr. Jonathan M. Lopatin, a member of the JTS Board, and by Dr. David C. Kramer, Joseph J., and Dora Asbel, librarian and professor of Talmud and Rabbinics. Nigel Savage, as founder and president of Chazon, you teach, write about, and advocate for ecological stewardship as an expression of Judaism. And you have done so in many of the American Jewish community's leading venues. You launched Chazon in 2000 with an ambitious event, the 11-week, 3,600-mile cross-USA Jewish environmental bike ride, whose participants taught in dozens of Jewish communities en route from Seattle to Washington, D.C. Chazon encourages Jewish involvement with food ethics, nature, and the environment through transformative experiences, thought leadership, and capacity building. Its community-supported agricultural program serves more than 2,300 households. Chazon connects Israelis and diaspora Jews. You also co-founded the Jewish Climate Change Campaign. Through your commitment and your visionary leadership of Chazon, you have pioneered a new area of Jewish education, contributed to our generation's appreciation of Torah, and helped make sustainability and environmental consciousness significant aspects of the contemporary American Jewish experience, an extraordinary contribution to Jewish life, as well as to our planet. Acting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. There is one more person that I'd like to recognize and thank at this point in our ceremony, Abby Joseph Cohen, who is stepping down next month as chair of the JTS Board and so today is chairing these ceremonies for the very final time. Abby has brought hard work, high intelligence, great diplomatic skill, and self-effacing humor to the role of chair. I can tell you she runs a tight board meeting and she runs a tight ship. Her financial acumen is legendary, but to those who know her, her grace and her kindness are no less evident. Abby, you've led us well these past 6 years through a time of enormous change. You've given us good reason for confidence that we can accomplish all that needs doing. You've been patient when patience is required, and you've been impatient when that was required. You've been my partner and friend. You've agreed to stay on the board, so this is not goodbye. I hope you'll be sitting in the front row of these ceremonies next year, but we don't want to let this opportunity go by. On behalf of the graduates and their families and everyone here at today's ceremony, to say thank you very much for your service. This is the point in JTS's commencement ritual when the Chancellor gets to say a few words to our graduates in the presence of family and friends, faculty and staff, members of the board, and the remarkable individuals behind me to whom we have just awarded honorary degree. I confess that I like this part of the JTS tradition a lot, as you might imagine, and I'm going to take advantage of it today to address a fact of life that JTS graduates share with your cohort of graduates of every college and university degree program in the United States today, but a fact of life that I hope you are going to engage differently because of the distinctive kind of learning you've engaged in over the past few years at JTS at this unique moment in Jewish history. My subject, of course, is change, rapid change, transformational change of the sort that has overtaken all of us in recent years. I'm interested in the risks of change, the possibilities that it offers, and the way in which it can be put to the service of a precious tradition that has changed repeatedly and often wisely over many centuries. I shall approach this theme for a change not with a text and not with an event in the news, but with recall of an emotional experience for which I am indebted to one of our honorary degree recipients today, Professor Barbara Kirshenblatt-Gimblett. It took place in the central room of the core exhibition that Barbara's team created for Polin, the remarkable museum of Polish Jewish history that formally opened this past fall on the site of the Warsaw Ghetto. The 8 galleries of the core exhibit tell the story of Polish Jewry in the 1,000 years or so before the ghetto's construction and the 70 years since its destruction. And at the halfway point of the journey through that history, one steps inside a reproduction at 80% scale of the wooden synagogue of Gwoździec. You gaze up at its soaring but fragile roof, you feast on its gorgeous colors and its zodiac design, and you do not want to move. I certainly did not. The place, the moment, held me rapt. Part of the power of that synagogue and of the museum as a whole is that these newly constructed buildings not only chronicle Jewish history, but carry that history forward. The museum is itself a major step in the revival of Polish Jewry. That was evident when members of the community gathered at the museum the day before the dedication of the core exhibit. The formalities of clinking glasses and speeches by dignitaries could barely contain the high emotion of life, Jewish life, asserting itself against the forces of death on the very site where so much death had occurred. Am Yisrael Chai. I felt privileged as I stood in the Gwoździec synagogue that day and the next to be part of the same people that worshiped in the original, to use virtually the same Siddur, to serve the same God, to study many of the same texts, and to walk a path of Torah somewhat different from those of earlier centuries, and therefore alive for me as it was for them, but recognizably related to their path as well. Jewish tradition, to the degree it lives today in us and through us and our community, and is passed on to our descendants live and whole, is the very opposite of a museum. What makes it so, of course, is change of a particular sort. The move from gallery to gallery at Pauline and within galleries drove home the inevitability of change and the possibility of continuity within change better than any lecture on the subject that I have ever heard. Differences within Judaism and among Jews are on view throughout. So is interaction between Jews and other elements of Polish society, sometimes positive and sometimes not. Jewish history is not presented as uninterrupted suffering and loss or as pure virtue and creativity. Because of that, I could not help thinking as I walked from room to room, and especially as I stood in that synagogue, how grateful I was to the Polish Jews who had shaped my Judaism in ways too numerous to count. And I found myself hoping that our descendants would feel the same way about our community. I want them, when they walk in our footsteps and read our texts and take the measure of our achievements and introduce bold changes in the tradition they've inherited from us, to know enough and care enough to make Judaism a home in which they too can live comfortably and well. JTS, to my mind, represents the same commitment to building a vibrant Jewish future by reaching deep, again and again, into the rich and complex Jewish past. Change is the element in which we work, the raw material out of which we fashion the next stage of Jewish history. Fear change, and you are paralyzed. Surrender to change, follow it blindly, ignore its dangers, make it your goal, and you are lost. Engage it inside a framework of learning and practice. Respect the past enough to go beyond mere nostalgia on the one hand or slavish devotion on the other. Be part of an institution like this one where first-rate scholarship and teaching are placed in the service of transformative action and innovative leadership, and you are practicing the kind of change that has proven itself many times over in Jewish history and is proving itself again in our time. Do I need to convince you, graduates of 2015, that wise, learned, and loving change in Jewish tradition, in our society, in your careers, and in your lives is inescapable in 2015? That our world is decisively different from what it was only a few short years ago? Consider a few facts that bear directly on your future and the future of JTS, beginning with the powerful agent of change that each and every one of us carries around in our pockets. Apple shipped its first iPhone a mere 8 years ago, when some of those who are graduating today had already enrolled at JTS. Many in the List College class of 2015 are as old as or older than widespread usage of the internet, which this year turned 21. Massive open online courses came into the world just 4 years ago, when many of you first arrived at JTS. You've come a long way since then, and so have the MOOCs. The number of universities providing them doubled this year to 400. The number of MOOC courses reached 2,400, and the number of students who have taken these courses has now surpassed 16 million. Every student in every class at JTS relies on internet and digitization every day. I think I was the only person in my seminar room this spring who brought books to class or paper. My point is clear. Higher education is without doubt in the midst of massive change, and Jewish higher education has got to change with it. You and I have no choice but to change as well, and will do so, I hope, in a way that strengthens lives, builds communities, and increases justice and compassion in the world. That task is rendered more difficult in 2015 because of another societal context that impinges on JTS directly, namely the state of religion and of religious institutions in contemporary North America. It is likewise in the midst of far-reaching and rapid transformation. This past week's Pew Report documented another steep decline in membership among American Protestants, 8% lost in 8 years, a finding consistent with trends highlighted by a number of recent studies. Americans do not flock anymore to organizations of any sort like they used to, and when they do join, are quick to tell anyone who will listen not to count on them sticking around for very long. The modern story, for better and for worse, and the better, where Jews are concerned, so far outweighs the worse that none of us should long for a return to medieval ghettos or early modern shtetls. That modern story is one of individuals asserting themselves over against institutional constraints and inherited patterns of behavior and belonging. Postmodern selves assert sovereignty more resolutely every year, and millennials have learned better than their parents how to use iPhones and iPads and I-everythings for the enhancement of I and the weakening of every we. It should not surprise us when Jews exhibit the same faith in flux, Pew's term, as other Americans, or that among us, as among Americans in general, adherence to no religious community, the nones, are very much on the rise. They, we, you, JTS graduates of 2015, can no longer be compelled to practice Judaism of any sort or belong to any community whatever. That is obvious. You, like the rest of us, must be persuaded, with experiences of face-to-face community, like those you have enjoyed during your studies here at JTS, and with experiences of meaning with a capital M, like those that JTS provides, and which we have taught you how to transmit with passion and wisdom to the communities that you will lead. Our determination to continue to train leaders like you in a world that changes more quickly with each successive entering class is what motivates us to rebuild our campus. Just as we cannot use the same tools of teaching and scholarship that have served JTS so well for decades, we cannot use the same facilities. We need a residence hall for the coming generations of JTS students that's not just a dorm in which to sleep, but a site of intentional community, a setting for inspirational Shabbat dinners, a magnet for students from diverse Jewish backgrounds and commitments, a space in which exciting Jewish conversations go long into the night and yield ideas and modes of practice that carry Judaism live into the future. We want JTS as a whole to be the site of such conversations among faculty and students who are drawn here because they want study of texts and commitments of the past to shape the institutions of the present and the future. Full-time faculty and students at 3080 Broadway will increasingly be joined in this effort by students and faculty beyond our walls, in person and online, as well as by experts from every relevant field of activity: ethics and the arts, law and medicine, Israel and diaspora, clergy of all faiths, and Jews of all denominations. In order to encourage such conversations, we will build new conference and meeting facilities and a state-of-the-art auditorium. We will make a significant investment in the renewal of our faculty and offer increased scholarship support to our students. We want JTS to be a true center of focused inquiry and high-level discussion about the transformation of our tradition and our community. Finally, we will build a 21st century library that does far more than preserve and circulate our 400,000 books, or preserve and not circulate our unparalleled collection of rare books and manuscripts. Internet and smartphones are a great gift to learning, and they have changed the meaning of libraries everywhere without eroding their necessity or lessening their value. We expect that many more people will come to study and be inspired by our amazing library, as you have done, once it is more accessible and far more visible. There will be collaborative learning spaces, a Beit Midrash lineless forum and outfitted as a smart classroom, places to linger over a cup of coffee, a growing stream of visitors from the diverse religious and cultural communities in our city and in our neighborhood. The new JTS campus will face outward, open and receptive to the world with confidence, convinced that we have something important to offer it. That, graduates of 2015, will be the latest chapter in the story of this bush that is never consumed. I trust, after years of study here, that the fire for Judaism's future burns in you as well, and that your leadership will bring the kind of change in continuity and of continuity in change achieved by the 5 individuals whom we honored a few moments ago. A wise man of my generation, Bob Dylan, was only partly right, you see, when he instructed my generation 50 years ago how to act when the times they are a-changin'. It is true that we fathers and mothers throughout the land, then and now, should not criticize what we can't understand. When history summons us, as it does again in 2015, with a planet threatened by global warming and all too many of its inhabitants mired in poverty, we must heed the call, not stand in the doorway or block up the hall. God knows, certainly we do, there's a battle outside and it's raging, shaking our windows and rattling our walls. Which is why, following Torah and not Bob Dylan, we surely want to understand as much as we can about past change, not go the way of revolution for the sake of revolution, and reject the wanton use of good ends to justify every means. We will labor with wisdom rather than anger, balance justice with compassion, be guided by wonder as well as reason, choose blessing, and always, always choose life. This morning's graduates prepare to leave JTS, just as the Torah cycle, Freud lives always. This morning's graduates prepare to leave JTS, just as the Torah cycle leaves the holy precincts of tabernacle ritual, the ordered realm where purity is sought and found, and goes out into the messier domain of wilderness. Bamidbar is where most of life transpires, and where the order of the day for you, our graduates, and for me is to try to be good amidst the mess and be good despite our own imperfections and those of the world. In the wilderness, all learning is put to the test. Your leadership, your lives will be the ultimate proof that JTS matters. On behalf of the faculty, I want to thank you for all you have taught us over the past few years. On behalf of our tradition and our community, I express our trust that you will change the world in ways that continue to make us proud. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Eisen, for those wise and inspiring words. My name is Alan Cooper, and I'm the provost of the Jewish Theological Seminary. A lot of people wonder what a provost does, so hang on. Now you know. I'm pleased to call on the chorus of the H.L. Miller Cantorial School, directed by Chazan David Tillman and accompanied by Ms. Elizabeth Rogers, both members of the Miller Cantorial School faculty. The chorus will perform Shehecheyanu, which was composed by cantor Meir Machtenberg, who was a famous cantor born in Vilna, who became a choral conductor at the Bethel Synagogue in Borough Park. And it's a wonderful souvenir of the golden age of Chazanut. Chazan Tillman.
We'll take it out of the way. Eloheinu melech, melech, melech haolam. V'kiyemonu Latzman hazeh shehechionu V'kiyemonu Latzman hazeh Lazman hazeh Lazman hazeh Lazman hazeh Shechion v'kiyamon v'higion l'zman hazeh Shechion v'kiyamon v'higion l'zman hazeh Shechion v'kiyamon v'higion l'zman hazeh Shechion v'kiyamon v'higion
Thank you, Chazan Tillman, Ms. Rogers, members of the choir. It's terrific. Thank you. Before we confer the degrees in course, I'd like to call your attention to the commencement program, where you will find the listing of prizes that have been awarded to the students of our 5 schools. Mazel tov to all those of you who are honored with these awards. And now it's my bittersweet privilege to be able to call attention to a friend and colleague who has contributed immensely to the Jewish Theological Seminary over the span of his career and who is now stepping down from formal classroom teaching. It's my privilege to ask Dr. Aryeh Davidson, please, to stand, to rise and remain standing while I embarrass him. Everyone in this room has been touched by your exemplary scholarship and wonderful personality. Member of the faculty since 1983 and serving as professor and dean, you've trained a myriad of clergy, educators, lay leaders, and scholars, and your work has helped to shape the face of Jewish communities and the academy throughout North America, throughout the world. Your students, your colleagues, everyone present is in your debt beyond measure. You embody the Torah that JTS strives to convey to the world, and we pray that you will have the strength and passion to continue serving the community for many more years to come. Aryeh. Thank you. At this time, I'm also pleased to note that in your program you will find a listing of the JTS class of 1965, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I also happen to be wearing a tie that my father-in-law purchased in 1965. Seriously. We want to congratulate the members of the class on reaching this terrific milestone. Our alumni, we just love you. We love all our alumni, and you're so important to us. You're our ambassadors. You carry your learning with you through your professional and personal lives, and you make essential contributions as leaders in a wide variety of fields. And now I'd like to ask the alumni of all of our schools and classes who are present, please to stand up so that we can recognize you and thank you. Alumni. Thank you for that warm reception. Now I would like to call to the podium Rabbi Daniel Horowitz, Rabbi of the J.B. Greenfield Chapel at Congregation Beth Yeshurun in Houston, Texas. This is an especially proud day for Rabbi Horowitz. His daughter, Sarit, will receive her M.A. during this ceremony and will be ordained as a rabbi later today. Rabbi Horowitz.
I now ask the parents and grandparents, husbands, wives, partners, and children of our graduates to please rise and remain standing. We recognize and appreciate the essential role that you have played in making this day possible, and we rejoice with you as you witness the fulfillment of long-standing hopes and dreams. Let us together recite the bracha that marks all such occasions in our lives, the Shehecheyanu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, granting us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this day. You may be seated.
Thank you, Rabbi Horowitz, and Mazel Tov on your daughter's graduation and ordination today. Now, in the name of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, it's my honor to join with Chancellor Eisen in conferring the degrees earned in course. The degrees are conferred by the Chancellor by the authority vested in the JTS Board of Trustees by the Board of Regents of the State of New York. Most universities confer their degrees by asking classes to stand up in unison, but as you probably know, at JTS, we honor each and every graduate by asking him or her to come up to the podium individually to recognize their hard work and the dedication that brought them to this moment. The names of candidates who could not attend appear in the commencement program, although they will not be called by name. I respectfully request that you withhold your applause until all the degrees in each group have been conferred. Mr. Chancellor, I now call Dr. Shuli Rubin Schwartz, Walter and Sarah Schlesinger Dean of Graduate and Undergraduate Studies. Dr. Schwartz will present to you candidates for degrees in the Gershon Kext Graduate School.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. Mr. Chancellor, the Gershon Kext Graduate School, which is composed of a wonderfully diverse group of students dedicated to academic Jewish studies at the highest levels, awards the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Hebrew Literature, Master of Philosophy, and Master of Arts. We will begin with the conferral of the doctoral degrees. Each of the following candidates has completed with due and appropriate satisfaction all the required academic programs and examinations which qualify him or her for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Graduate School of JTS. And each has as his or her sponsor a member of the faculty who has helped guide the student's studies and research. I now call upon Dr. Richard Kalman, Theodore R. Rakusin, Professor of Talmud and Rabbinics, to present Noah Benjamin Bickart.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting Noah Benjamin Bickart, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in course. He has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled Tistayem, an investigation into the scholastic culture of the Bavli.
Mr. Chancellor, I now call upon Dr. Robert Harris, Associate Professor of Hebrew Bible and its Interpretation, to present Yedida Eisenstadt.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting Yedida Eisenstadt, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in course. She has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled Rashi's Midrashic Anthology, the Torah Commentary Re-Examined.
Ismar. I now call upon Dr. Ismar Shorsh, Rabbi Herman Abramowitz Professor of Jewish History and Chancellor Emeritus, to present Marcus Krah.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting Marcus Krah, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in course. He has successfully defended with distinction an original dissertation entitled Turning a Lost World into a Usable Past, How American Jews at Mid-Century Reinvented Their East European Past.
I now call upon Dr. Barbara Mann, Simon H. Fabian Associate Professor of Hebrew Literature, to present Liati and Mike Chai.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting Liati N. Mike Chai, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in course. She has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled Toward a Poetic of Eyewitness, Documentary Expression, and Jewish American Poetry of the 1930s.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Upon recommendation of the faculty, which recognizes your scholarly accomplishments, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you upon your achievement.
Mr. Chancellor, I now present the candidates who have successfully fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in the Gershon Kext Graduate School of JTS. I ask that after they cross the platform, please remain standing as they return to their seats. Matthew Nathan Abelson. Hillel Yosef Buchler. Andrea Lynn Deck. Ariel Ray Greenberg. Sarit Rachel Horwitz. Jonah Gabriel Rank. Ariela Josefa Rosen. Samuel Aaron Rosen. Hannah Teresa Ellen Russo. Ronnie Isaac Tabak. Sigal Chaya Hirsch. Joshua Ben Jacobs. Rebecca Ann Nadis. You missed your spot.
Oh, you made it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Schwartz. Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts. You have completed the prescribed course of instruction and have fulfilled the language, research, and other requirements of the Gershon Kext Graduate School of JTS. In recognition of these accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty and the behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts, which you have earned in course, and welcome you to the company of scholars. Congratulations. Our new MAs may be seated.
Thank you, Dean Schwartz. Now I call upon Dr. Bill Robinson, Dean of the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education, to present the candidates for the degrees in that school. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. The William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education awards the degrees of Doctor of Education and Master of Arts. We will now begin with the conferral of the doctoral degrees. Each of the following candidates has completed with due and appropriate satisfaction all the required academic programs and examinations which qualify him or her for a degree of Doctor of Education in the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education, and each has, as his or her sponsor, a member of the faculty who has helped guide the student's studies and research. I now call upon Dr. Jeffrey Kress, Associate Professor of Jewish Education, to present Daniel Mark Held.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting Daniel Mark Held, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Education in course. He has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled The Motivations and Professional Identity Formation of Novice Jewish Educators Working Full-Time in Non-Formal Settings.
I once again call upon Dr. Jeffrey Kress now to present Rachel Allison Lerner.
Mr. Chancellor, I now have the honor of presenting Rachel Allison Lerner, candidate for the degree of Doctor of Education in course. She has successfully defended an original dissertation entitled Newcomers, the Vision and Enrollment, How Newcomer Teachers Are Socialized to the Vision of Their School.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Education. Upon recommendation of the faculty, which recognizes your scholarly accomplishments, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Education which you have earned in course. We congratulate you upon your achievement.
Mr. Chancellor, I am now privileged to present the candidates who have satisfactorily fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education. I invite the candidates to rise and come forward to the platform as I call their names and ask that they remain standing when they return to their seats. Shira Becker. Jessica Haley Cohn. Leah Cole Loderman Fine. Rachel L. Figueroa Smith. Deborah Fricano. Ariel Abraham Kahan Goldberg. Tiffany Paulette Steyer Green. Sigal Chaya Hirsch. Joshua Ben Jacobs. Yona Michelle Kirshner. Meredith Danker Levick. Gabriel Matthew Miner. Heidi Robin Moore. Rebecca Ann Nadis. Benjamin M. Rottenberg. Marit Bracha Sands. Lauren Rachel Schuchart with honors. Aliza Zahava Davidson Siebert. Anna Pauline Stern Suryansky. And Ayala Rena Wasser.
Thank you, Dean Robinson. Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts, you have completed the prescribed course of instruction and have fulfilled the language, research, and other requirements of the William Davidson Graduate School of Jewish Education. You are well aware of the sacred nature of your vocation. Your energy, learning, and talent bode well for the future of the Jewish people, the teaching of Torah, and the thriving of the human spirit. In recognition of your accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts, which you have earned in course, and welcome you to the field of Jewish education. Congratulations. Please be seated.
At this time, I once again call upon Dr. Shuli Rubin Schwartz, who is still Walter and Sarah Schlesinger Dean of Graduate and Undergraduate Studies, to present the candidates for degrees in JTS's undergraduate school.
Dr. Cooper, thank you. Mr. Chancellor, it is now my privilege to present the academically accomplished, dazzlingly talented, globally minded, caring, and successful candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Albert A. List College of Jewish Studies. Miriam Susanna Jane Aniel, magna cum laude. Emily Rebecca Aronson, summa cum laude with honors. Jillian Cohen Barker, cum laude. Lauren Alyssa Binder, summa cum laude. Oren Beton, magna cum laude. Benjamin Moshe Bromberg Gaber, magna cum laude. Tyler Harris Dratch, magna cum laude. Frankie Ann Echeverria. Hilana Sari Ezekiel, magna cum laude. Zachary Gabriel Glasser, magna cum laude. Ariel Wallace Goldstein. Benjamin Scott Samuel Goldwater, magna cum laude. Molly Rose Heller, magna cum laude. Zachary Aaron Javit. Rafael Giorno, magna cum laude. Miriam Julia Koch Kaplan, magna cum laude. Hillel Nisim Solomani Lehman with Hebrew honors. Jessie Nicole Leiter, magna cum laude. Alan Leon Lipson, summa cum laude with honors. Orly Matlow, cum laude. Nathaniel Jacob Rahimzada. Rebecca Gabriela Santora, summa cum laude. Mariah Shervone, cum laude with Hebrew honors. Allison Page Schlissel, magna cum laude. Joshua Shankar, cum laude. Sarah Chelsea Schuster. Jonathan R. Steinberg, summa cum laude. Max Howell. Natalie Sarah Telson, magna cum laude. Ariella Danielle Wallace, cum laude.
Thank you, Dean Schwartz. Members of the List College graduating class, the degree you receive today represents a double achievement in humanities studies. Not only have you completed the rigorous JTS undergraduate course of study, but you've amassed a minimum of 60 liberal arts credits and often more than that. Much more than that. Most of you accomplished this in either your joint program with Columbia University or our double degree program with Barnard College, for which you received an additional Bachelor of Arts degree at the Columbia graduation ceremony. The faculty, therefore, takes special pride in recognizing your accomplishment. It's now my privilege, members of the undergraduate class of 2015, acting upon the recommendation of the faculty, which recognizes your successful completion of the course of study in the Albert A. List College of Jewish Studies, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, to confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts, which you have earned in course. We congratulate you on your hard-won achievement. May you never lose the spirit on view today and put it in service to the world. You may be seated.
I now call upon our new graduate, Ms. Molly Heller, to speak on behalf of the List College graduates.
Chancellor Eisen, Chairman of the Board Cohen, Provost Cooper, Dean Schwartz, honorees, faculty, family, friends, the klezmer band from Anatevka. In the class of 2015. I am humbled to be speaking today. Let me begin with the following inspirational text. Zuntik bulbus, Sunday potatoes. Montik bulbus, Monday potatoes. Dinstig und Mittwoch bulbus, Tuesday and Wednesday potatoes. Donnerstag und Freitag bulbus, Thursday and Friday potatoes. Shabbos in a novena, a boba kugela. Shabbos for a change, a potato kugel. Zuntik weiter bulbus, Sunday, again, potatoes. As we commemorate the culmination of intense academic study at two of the most prestigious institutions in the world, Columbia and Barnard, and the Jewish Theological Seminary of America, I'm speaking in Yiddish about potatoes. So let me explain. I came to Liss College with many fears. I want to make friends. I want to be smart enough. I want to be Jewish enough. In this program that was supposed to foster incredible individuals, I would never be anything but ordinary. Thankfully, I was incredibly wrong. My education at Columbia and JTS proved to be insightful, challenging, and inspirational. Our incredible faculty, deans, and advisors expanded our intellectual horizons, mentored us through this very full course load. In one semester, I took liturgy and American drama of the 1990s back to back, with only 5 minutes to get from 122nd and Broadway to 115th in Amsterdam. 5 minutes. Chancellor Eisen often eloquently describes the walk between JTS and Columbia and Barnard as the hyphen in the American Jewish experience. I agree, but for me, this was a sprint. One day, we debated the mourner's Kaddish in liturgy. I argued adamantly with classmates that, in practice, the prayer alienates rather than comforts mourners. Kaddish doesn't mention death, but sanctifies God at a time when most mourners don't want to do so. I make my point, sprint out of the room, and think about my next class where we'll be discussing Tony Kushner's play Angels in America, specifically a scene in which the mourner's Kaddish is recited for a deceased AIDS victim in an empty hospital room. I imagine sharing my brilliant insights about alienation with my class, and then I envision how isolating it must have been to recite the Kaddish alone in a hospital in light of the stigma surrounding AIDS during the 90s. And suddenly, I see what my JTS classmates meant. The Kaddish is about community. The traditional act of the mourner reciting the prayer in a minyan within a community provides comfort rather than alienation. And it's these insights that I made on these runs that came often. And I grew to appreciate how my Jewish studies enhanced my secular studies and vice versa, and ultimately deeply enriched my life. We, the class of 2015, have epitomized making the most out of our college experience. We've taken double the core curricula, the 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 classes a semester. We joined and led diverse organizations and clubs on Columbia's campus. We've taken internships in this incredible city that have prepared us for a range of careers, from law to entertainment to architecture to Jewish nonprofits to everything and anything in between. Yet the biggest achievement of them all is the community we created. From our incredibly disparate backgrounds, there was me, the secular Jew with no formal Jewish education, the Syrian Orthodox Jew who grew up in yeshiva, the USY-loving conservative day school Jew, and many more. We've matured into adults by challenging each other's beliefs and questioning our own biases. We created a living, learning, loving Jewish community, one that I will sorely miss. We will no longer respectfully argue the merits of the laws of kashrut in the early hours of the morning as we clean our kitchens for Passover. There will be no more wiffle ball in the halls. or bursting into each other's rooms at midnight on a classmate's birthday and not allowing each other to go back to studying until we celebrate. And there will be no more impromptu Shabbat potluck dinners. And this brings me back to potatoes. The monotony of the daily potatoes is broken up only by the exceptional Shabbat preparations, in the same way that students felt Shabbat approaching in the residence halls on a Friday night. And yet, it's easy in the monotony of the day-to-day college experience to forget about the extraordinary aspects of being a student at Liss College, earning 2 undergraduate degrees. We hurry through the mundane routine, Monday potatoes, Tuesday potatoes, Wednesday potatoes, paying no attention to the fact that we hold ourselves to incredible expectations. It's been easy to ignore what each day actually meant for us, deep integrative learning, searching for spirituality, taking the time to foster meaningful relationships, figuring out where we want to go in the world and why. Today, we can truly appreciate that what we've accomplished as a class is not mundane and certainly not ordinary. Class of 2015, our accomplishments are exceptional and exemplary. If I can impart one bit of wisdom to you today, it is to keep your expectations high. Everywhere you go, take the Liss College mentality with you. Approach each new experience holding yourself to the extraordinary standard of taking advantage of everything offered to you. Bring your leadership, curiosity, compassion, and immense amounts of love to everything you do. And you will continue to thrive and bring meaningful change to the world informed by your unique perspective. Congratulations, class of 2015, and may there be plenty of exceptional bulbous in your future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heller. I think you turned out to be smart enough after all. Mazal tov to the entire class. I now call upon the Dean of the Division of Religious Leadership, Rabbi Daniel S. Nevins, and the Director of the H.L. Miller Cantorial School and College of Jewish Music, Cantor Nancy Abramson, to present the degree candidates in that school.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. Mr. Chancellor, at a ceremony this afternoon, the H.L. Miller Cantorial School and College of Jewish Music will invest 2 graduates as chazanim. These students have also successfully completed the requirements for the degree of Master of Sacred Music in the school, and my colleague, Cantor Nancy Abramson, will now present them to you for those degrees.
I invite the candidates to come forward as I call their names. Sarah Valerie Meyerson. Jeffrey Frederick Warschauer.
Thank you, Rabbi Nevins and Cantor Abramson. Candidates for the degree of Master of Sacred Music, you have completed the prescribed course of instruction and have fulfilled the research and other requirements of the H.L. Miller Cantorial School and College of Jewish Music. In recognition of these accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Sacred Music, which you have earned in course, and welcome you to the company of scholars. I'd now like to recognize your investiture as chazanim this afternoon. May you be blessed with the words from our high holiday liturgy, Be'or panecha yahalechun, berech lecha yichruun, amcha befihem yivorchun, umi berchot picha, kulam yitbarechun. May they walk in the light of your spirit, and by their blessings may we all be blessed. Mazal tov.
I now call upon Rabbi Daniel Nevins, Dean of the Division of Religious Leadership, and Pearl Resnick, Dean of the Rabbinical School, to present the degree candidates in that school.
Thank you again, Dr. Cooper. Mr. Chancellor, at a ceremony this afternoon, the Rabbinical School will ordain 14 graduates as rabbis. Several of these students were awarded a Master of Arts degree earlier in this commencement exercise from either the Davidson School or the Gershon Kext Graduate School, or earned one previously. I now have the privilege to present to you two students who will be among those being ordained this afternoon, who have successfully completed the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in the Rabbinical School. I invite the candidates to rise and come forward to the platform as I call their names and ask that they remain standing when they return to their seats. Mira Catherine Rivera. And Mia Simmering.
Thank you again, Rabbi Nevins. Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts. You have completed the prescribed course of instruction and have fulfilled the research and other requirements of the Rabbinical School. In recognition of these accomplishments and acting upon the recommendation of the faculty and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts, which you have earned in course, and welcome you to the company of scholars. I now invite all Rabbinical School graduates who will be ordained this afternoon as rabbis to please stand. May you be blessed with the Talmudic blessing conferred by Rabbi Ami on his students when they departed from the academy. Siftotecha yabiu dat, v'chil yonotecha ta'alozna mesharim, ufamecha yarutzu lishmoa, divrei atik yomin. Let your lips communicate knowledge. May you rejoice in the right with all your heart. May you always run to the commands of God. Mazal tov. The rabbis may be seated.
At this time, I would like to acknowledge and thank Rabbi Lisa Gelber. Rabbi Gelber will be completing her 12-year tenure as Associate Dean of the Rabbinical School in June. We are grateful to Rabbi Gelber for the wonderful leadership that she's provided. Rabbi Gelber has brought nuanced spirituality, compassion, and deep learning to the JTS community, and she's drawn attention to important issues such as domestic violence. She has been a source of strength for JTS and for all blessed to know her. I have grown as a person and as a professional from working together with her. We wish her well and great fulfillment as she moves on to the next stage of her rabbinic career. Mazal tov.
Thank you, Rabbi Nevins. I now call upon Dr., newly minted Dr. Marcus Krah, who received his PhD from the Gershon Kext Graduate School earlier in this ceremony, to speak on behalf of the graduates of JTS's 4 professional and graduate schools. Dr. Krah.
Chancellor Eisen, Chair of the Board Cohen, Provost Cooper, Dean Schwartz, distinguished honorees, honored members of the faculty, members of the JTS staff, without whom this place would not run, my fellow graduates, families, friends, and guests. I am honored to speak on behalf of the graduates of the 4 graduate level schools at JTS, the William Davidson School of Jewish Education, the Rabbinical School, the H.L. Miller Cantorial School, and my own alma mater within my alma mater, the newly named Gershon Kext Graduate School. It is exhilarating to look back at our experience over the past years and to go out today into the world outside of JTS and to pass on our knowledge and our passion for our topics and disciplines and professions, our values, to spread the Torah of JTS, our Torah. We arrived at JTS from very different directions, as women and men, religious or secular, gay or straight, even being Jewish and non-Jewish. I, for one, came to JTS as a German Christian, and I did not know when I got here what it would be like, what it would mean to study with future rabbis, communal workers, educators, and others. But I soon realized that here I would learn so much more than the Jewish history I could learn at a fine secular university. I was swept up by a community that seeks meaning in what we study and teach. Personal meaning, but also meaning for a community in which we grow together, academically, spiritually, and communally. I am grateful to our teachers who live these values with passion and integrity, and to my fellow students for renewing these values out of the diversity we bring to JTS. Diversity is challenging, though. I will admit to some inner eye-rolling on my part in classes I took with fellow students from other schools who, in a class on East European Jewish history, say, immediately thought sermon or lesson plan. The eye-rolling was surely done in a loving way on my part, and I'm also sure it was reciprocated. Anyway, ultimately, we all realized that we are all the richer for the diversity we bring to the questions we have engaged in our classes, papers, and in our theses. My own doctoral thesis analyzes how American Jews some 60 years ago related to the East European past. I tried to determine if for them it was an inspirational folk piety or a depressing reminder of the dark past of poverty and persecution. When I talked about this with fellow students, everyone had an immediate response, usually one having to do with a story about a grandparent from Eastern Europe, some of whom may actually be with us today. So thank you for those responses I got. These reactions showed me how being related to the past shapes a community and how a historic people renews itself again and again. And it is humbling for a scholar to see how scholarship can relate to such a profound search for meaning. So it is in this spirit that I would like to commit all of us to a sense of humility. It is out of respect for others, for each other, and out of a keen awareness of the beauty, the profundity, and the dignity of the topics we deal with as scholars of the Bible and the Talmud, of history and literature, philosophy and theology, that we should sometimes invoke a Talmudic saying from Tractate Brachot, which served me very well when I drew an embarrassing blank in my oral exams. Lamei leshoncha lomar eini yodea. Always teach your tongue to say, I don't know. Because we did receive a world-class education at JTS, we can afford to say this. And because the questions we face are bigger than each of us, we will do well saying this more often. I hope that we all will continue to engage these questions as we go out into the world, and may we be privileged to find others receptive to the knowledge and spirit that we hope to share. Thank you.
Dr. Krah, thank you so much for your profound comments. Notice, too, there is a diversity at JTS in terms of height. At this time, I would also like to thank Chancellor Eisen and Dr. Cooper for conferring the degrees in course, and of course, offer my own personal congratulations to all of our graduates. I'm pleased to invite our graduates and honorees, their families and friends, and all of you who have gathered here with us today to share in a celebratory champagne reception at the conclusion of commencement. The reception is sponsored by the Diane and Howard Wohl Office of Alumni Affairs and will take place in 2 locations, in the first floor Alperin Lobby and in the 2nd floor Strum Lounge. Before the concluding choral music of our program, I'd like to acknowledge the unsung heroes of the day. These commencement ceremonies would not have been possible without the leadership of Tom Cadgen. Tom Cadgen and his team work tirelessly every year and make it all seem so effortless. We also gratefully acknowledge the hard work of our facilities team. The members of our security department, and many others on the JTS staff. Ladies and gentlemen, these caring individuals have looked after our students every day during their time here at JTS, and of course have taken care of every detail today on behalf of us all. May I ask, please, for a hearty round of well-deserved applause. And now, the chorus of the H.L. Miller Cantorial School with a soloist, Summer Greenwald-Ganella, and Isaac Yeager will lead us in the Adonalom. Please join them.
בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה.
Ekra
our sincere thanks to Summer and to Isaac, to the entire chorus, and David Tillman. A special thanks to you, our talented chorus director. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done, but please remain in your seats until the entire recessional has been completed. On behalf of Chancellor Eisen, the faculty, the administration, and the Board of Trustees, I thank you once again for joining us and sharing this very exciting, warm, and meaningful day. I declare these 121st commencement exercises of the Jewish Theological Seminary to be concluded. Mazel tov to all.